Richard Prosser.
Mr Speaker. Rise on behalf of New Zealand First to speak to this first reading of the Summary Offences Possession of Handheld Lasers Amendment Bill. New Zealand First supports this bill. Mr Speaker, I was discussing this bill with a colleague of mine last month, and she said to me, Mr Speaker, my colleague remarked, what a shame it is that we have to legislate, that we have to pass laws because of people's stupidity. And yet that is what we are doing, Mr Speaker. It is a great thing that Dr Calder has brought this bill to the House, and we are pleased to be able to support it, because it will address an issue of safety that is of genuine concern. But at the same time, it is a very great shame that he has had to draft a bill to address the matter at hand, because the need for it has come about wholly and solely thanks to the stupidity of a few individuals. Lasers are a fascinating invention, Mr Speaker. I've been fascinated by them since learning the theory and workings of them in physics in high school. Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation is what the acronym LASER stands for, and a truly wonderful process that is. The principle of wave-particle duality, the fact that light can exist as either a waveform or a particle, but not at the same time, has been employed by mankind to his great benefit since the invention of the laser in 1960. Today, lasers are common in industry, medicine and science. Lasers are used for precise and accurate measuring, cutting, reading and recording, engraving, incising, excising, aligning and levelling. Everything from dumpy levels to DVD players have lasers in them. And of course they have other uses, such as a hunter using a laser sight to pinpoint the hapless bunny in his crosshairs, to a lecturer or presenter highlighting elements of his or her presentation on a screen or whiteboard for the benefit of the audience, to driving one's cat into a frenzy as it chases the impossible-to-catch little red dot all around the house. Indeed, they have many practical and legitimate uses. And they have less legitimate uses as well, Mr Speaker. And it is one of these in particular which has been the reason for the good Dr Calder to bring this bill before us. Lasers, laser pointers, handheld lasers in particular, have evolved rapidly in recent years, and their availability has increased as prices have fallen exponentially. Once the preserve of fictional characters in futuristic movies and TV programs, the handheld laser has become an easily accessible reality, powered by ordinary torch batteries, capable of great feats such as igniting matches and bursting balloons over a great distance. I would have loved one as a boy, Mr Speaker, and with hindsight in some ways I think it is just as well that I never did. But boys today do have them, and some of those boys choose to do stupid things with them, which is why we are here debating this fine member's bill, from a very fine member indeed, if I may say so, with the intention of making it into an equally fine law. I do own a laser pointer, Mr Speaker. I should confess that at this point. In one of my previous lives, I was involved in the manufacture of colloidal silver, which is a broad-spectrum germicide consisting of a suspension of microscopic silver particles in distilled water. One of the tools which is used to confirm the presence of the silver particles and colloids in suspension and solution is a laser beam. When it is shone through the brew, the laser produces what is known as the Tyndall effect, which is the scattering of light by very small particles diffused in suspension. The laser pointer that I use for this purpose is a very small device, which I purchased from a well-known chain of red shops for the princely sum of $2. It has a power output of about 0.0 nothing of a milliwatt, but that said, it will still illuminate a reflective road sign some 2 kilometres away. The handheld lasers which the silly boys I referred to earlier seek to own and misuse, however, are a different animal altogether, Mr Speaker. They are advertised online as being of great power and effect, many hundreds and even thousands of times more powerful than my own little keyring device, which despite its utility is really little more than a toy. A toy that can still blind somebody, mind, but these powerful lasers are in a different league. And use them to blind they do, Mr Speaker. Foolish boys have taken to using these devices to blind the pilots of aircraft approaching our airports, putting literally hundreds of lives in the air and on the ground at risk. It is only a matter of time before some clown decides that drivers on the motorway are an equally hilarious target and fair game for their stupidity. Dr Calder's bill will remove these devices from temptation's reach, Mr Speaker, and that is why we are happy to stand alongside him, shoulder to shoulder, in support of it. We despair that this bill has become necessary, that, as my erstwhile colleague said, we have to legislate because of people's stupidity. But it appears that we do, and here we are. Mr Speaker, New Zealand First congratulates Dr Calder on having his bill drawn. We thank him for his motivation and his reasoning. We support this bill, and I commend it to the House. Thank you.
Mike Sabin.
Always a pleasure to follow the member, Richard Prosser, who